Hello world, welcome to my 8 tutorial solving problems with programming. This tutorial is about the 8 code lists and is the WSQ7, and I just want to display a quick semantic error that I had to face in doing this problem. So what we are going to do is see this picture, and after seeing this picture we have to do the task of creating a program that asks the user for 10 numbers in floating point and store those numbers in a list, and we have to show to the user the total, average, and a standard deviation of those numbers, and we have to consider the details about it that are for the C++ group. You can do this with arrays or vectors, but you will need to know eventually how to do both. And I did it with array, so I'm achieving still the mastery topic 18. So once you have this working, change it so that users keep giving you values until they see a normal values, which I did. And how would you implement this? And in particular for the C++ group, how do you deal with an unknown size to your array during compilation? So I have already grown the program, and I just want to explain it. So there you go. I have we have the beginning. We have the beginning of the program. We have first we have to the beginning of the program, that is the in main. Then we have to declare the in variable n. After that, we have to declare the in variable tam. Next, we have to declare decimal float variable summa. Next, we have to declare decimal float variable average final. After that, we need to declare decimal float variable standard final. Next, we have to declare decimal float variable list tam. This is where I am using the mastery 18 creation. I use arrays or vectors where I am declaring a float variable list as an array with a size of the variable tam, because in an array you need to have a size in the variable. Furthermore, where you have to pass the array as a parameter, you have to write, in this case, float and the symbol of times and the number of the variable of the array, that is list, that in this case is list. After that, we have a command of that in form of text. This is to ask the user to give for the number of the elements in the array. After that, we have an input that this command allows enter data for inputs. In this case, is enter the value of variable n. After that, we have an assignation, summa, and assignation number total, parentheses n list, and this assignation helps to call the function number total to make the task of the total value of the number with the help of the variable float summa, with the parameters n and list as an array, master topic 6 and 7 and also 18. Therefore, we have a command our data in form of text that tells the user total numbers is. So what happens here? I have the beginning of the program. I have my variables. I have to tell the user how many elements do you want in the to tell in the array, and then we have to call this function. After calling this function, this main function escapes and goes to the number of function number total that I said before. So in number total, we have this is a float function. This is a structured function where you have subroutines in order to make different tasks. In this case, we have a float function with the name number total and with the parameter n and float parameter. List, where I'm using the mastery 18 creation, I use arrays vectors in C++ in order to have float results inside this function. Therefore, I am using the array in order to say each number entered by the user with combining it with a loop. So inside of this function, to tell the total numbers that the user enter, we have to declare a local variable that is total and initialize it in 0. After that, we have to do a loop, a mastery topic. With this command for is utilized as a loop for execute all the instructions that has this loop until does not complete that the variable e will be less or equal than n, and while it is increasing one in this variable I, initialized from the values 1. So in this for, I use it to repeat the number of times until the user gives to the program to give it in the parameter list, that is the array. So in the inside of this for, we have a command that are in for no text to tell. In this text, we show the authentic output of the value entered by in the terminal interface, master topic 4. Then we have a new kind of input that this command allows enter data for inputs. In this case, this enters the value of variable list, and inside of the brackets we have the variable e, where this is a space of each is the space of each value entered by the user from 1 to n, and I am using the mastery 18 creation. I use arrays of vectors in C++. So in this part, I have the for, and when I execute the for, I ask the user to give 10 inputs. That will be the 10 numbers or any number that wants the user. After that, we have an instruction in this instruction for of the for loop. It tells we have an accumulator that tells the value of the variable total plus the variable list I, where this I is the space of each value entered by the user from 1 to n. I am using the mastery 18 creation. I use arrays vectors in C++. Is given to the variable total. In this case, we have a variable whose function is save the value of the operation is until the loop for finishes with all the total of integers in the range you provide saving variable total. So after finish this instruction, so the for loop, I have the total of the accumulator, that will be the total of the numbers entered by the user, and after the number of times answer for, and we have a return. With this command, you return the value of the previous operations of the function number total inside of the variable float total in order to call it in the main function. And so we call this function. Does this work? We have a return total. After the return total, it jumps or it comes back to the main function, and we have a command that in form of text to tell the user that the total numbers is the value of summa. After adding this addition, the local variable in the main function called summa has the value of the current value of the function, that is number total, with the parameters n and list. So we have the total numbers is the actual number of summa. That will be the authentic output of the value entered of summa in the terminal interface. After that, after showing the user the total numbers, we have another assignation, and this assignation helps to call the function of average of numbers to make the task of the average value of the numbers with the help of the variable average final with the parameters n and summa. So after that, again, the main jumps to another subroutine that is average of numbers with the parameters summa and n. And let's go to the summa in order to have the average. Okay, now we are in the function float average of numbers with the parameters summa and int. This is the structure of the function where you have subroutines in order to make different tasks. In this case, we have a float function with the name average of numbers and with float parameter summa and int parameter n in order to have float results inside this function. So inside of this new task, we have a local variable that is called average, and this is a decimal one. After that, after declaring this decimal variable called average, we have a math operation. This is a math operation between summa and n, and stands for do the division between those values and save it in float variable average. After that, we have a return bar average. So in this function, just makes the work of doing the average in order, and the value of the average will be sent to the main function. So we have with return average, and with this command you return the value of the previous operations of average, the previous operations of average of numbers, and after that inside of the variable float average in order to call it in the main function. So after that it jumps again with the main function, and here we go. We assign the value of this function, of the previous operation of this function, and gives this value to the float variable average final in order to show it in the next instruction. That will be a cout, a command line for the text, and we tell the user the average of the number is then the current number of the average final. In this test, we show the authentic output of the value entered of average final in the terminal interface, and this is covered in the mastery topic 4. So after that, we have another call or another assignation, a standard final assignation stand up, and this assignation has to call the function of standard up to make the task of the standard deviation or value of the number with the help of the variable float standard final with the parameters list as an array, average final, and n. This is covering mastery topic 6, 7, and 18 because we are using arrays, and we are referencing the array parameter. So after this instruction, the main function or the program jumps the main and goes to the number of this function that is standard up. That will be this one. We have a float structure. This is a structure of a function where you have subroutines in order to make different tasks. In this case, we have a float function with the name standard up, and with int parameter n and float parameter times list, where I'm using the mastery 18 creation and use of arrays or vectors in C++ in order to have float results inside this function. Therefore, I am using the array in order to say each number entered by the user with combining it with a loop. So we have we have to declare a decimal variable prevariance initialized in 0. We have to declare a decimal variable called variance, and then we have to declare the decimal variable standard. After that, we need a loop. With this command for, it's utilized as a loop for execute all the instructions that has this loop until it does not complete that the variable I will be less or equal than n, while it is increasing 1 in 1 in this variable I initialized from the value 0. So prevariance we have a math operation that I needed for using the process of the standard deviation. In this part, I separate in two ways because I need just one part to repeat the number of times that is given to the user in order to calculate in a correct way the formula of standard deviation. This is a math operation between prevariance and least I, where this is I is the space of each value entered by the user from 1 to n. I am using the master topic 18 equation I use of arrays vectors in C++ and it stands for the summa between those values and save it in float variable prevariance. That will be the plus of this summa and the plus of this summa that will be inside your test this difference between the number of elements minus the average final that we saw before, and therefore we have also that. So I put it twice because I have to do it. I have to do this difference and elevate to a square bow. After that, we have a variance, and we have a math operation between prevariance and n, and it stands for do the division of those values and save it in float variable variance. Next, we have a standard we have a standard variable that will be the value of the standard operation, standard division operation, and this is a math operation between standard and variance and stands for do the square root between those values and save it in float variable standard. And we have to use with this command sqrt will be the value of square root, and we have to add it from the library to call out the functions of math of the in language C++. That are this one. I have told that in the last tutorials that we need to include this library that is library to call all the functions or inputs or outputs of data in language C++. After that, we have to after those libraries, we have to use this command using namespace std. In C++, we need a command that every time goes with the instruction or input and outputs of data that is called std. But with this command helps writing this std out for the main because the machine factorizes them. After that, after doing the square root, we have a return statement that will be with this command you return the value of the previous operation on standard up function inside of the variable float standard in order to call it in the main function. So after that it comes back to the main function, and after that we have after this assignation that helps to call the function stand up to make the task of the standard deviation value the number with the help of the variable float standard final with the parameters list as an array average final on n, mastery topic 6, mastery topic 7, and mastery topic 18. We have a command of the data in front of test to tell the user that okay, the standard deviation of those values is the value of the variable standard final that will be the value of the main of the function standard up. And command of data in front of text. In this test, we show the authentic output of the value entered of standard final in the terminal interface. So let me show you the program. I need to save it, remember, and I have to compile it. So let me show you G++ space WSQ07.cpp. We have to wait. Okay, we run it. Remember, point/a point out. enter, and there you go. We ask the user to give the number of the elements in the array in order to calculate the operations of the assignment. So let me say 10. Give me the first number or in a float way. So I will put it from 1 to 10. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. So there you go. The total numbers is the sum of these ones. That will be 55. Yay! After that, we have to tell the user the average of the numbers is 5.5, and the standard deviation of those numbers is 2.83. So let me check it with this standard deviation calculator online. I have already put these ones. I put calculate. And there you go. We have the sum is 55. Yay! Oh. After that, we have the mean average 5.5, and we have the population standard deviation 2.87. That will be the same as I have right here. So my calculations are true. So there you go. I have it. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. See you next time.